What are the three laws of Newton? What is the first law of Newton? Which is also known as law of inertia. If you don't remember the sentence, can you give me a hint? What is it about? What does it say?
Sir, it says that a body will stay in its condition of motion or rest until and unless it is disturbed by an external force.
External force. Okay. And what is the second law?
Every action and has its opposite and equal reaction, maybe.
Yeah, it's a Newton's law, but I think yeah, it's usually known as known as third law. And what is the second law?
The second law, its force is equals to mass and acceleration. Mass times acceleration.
Right, or rate of change of velocity, or you can also say that in terms of momentum also. That's also fine, right? The rate of change of momentum. And equilibrium. The idea of equilibrium is essentially the first law itself. First law of Newton. So the first law says that unless you apply a force on something, force on an object or a body, it will continue its state of rest or of uniform motion. So that sounds very intuitive also, right? If you don't apply a force on something, it's going to continue its state, whichever it is. If it is at rest, it will continue to be at rest, or if it's having a uniform motion, it will continue having that uniform motion. Now, what is equilibrium? Equilibrium means net force on the let's say equilibrium of a particle means net force on the particle is zero. Alright, if that is the case, from first law of Newton, what do we get? If net force on something is zero, it should be at the state of rest or of uniform motion. And if net force is zero, that's a statement we can actually use to solve problems and analyze system of forces. Let's see how can we do that. So you can see the screen, right? So if an object is at equilibrium, net force on that object is zero. And if net force on the object is zero, net force is a vector which has which can have 2 or 3 direction, depends on if it's a 2D case or a 3D case. So if net force is 0, so net force in x direction should be 0, net force in y direction should be 0, net force in z direction should be 0. So these are the three equations we can actually get from any object that is in equilibrium. So let's do something here. We just before that before we start there, I'm also going to talk about someone is trying to join. Let's say there are three vectors and sum of those three vectors is 0, and this angle is alpha, and this one is beta, this one is gamma. If this is the case, is there any equation that's applicable here? This is again probably another idea you've learned in your school days. It's called law of sines, I think. And what is that equation? Anyone remember? P divided by sine alpha is equal to Q divided by sine beta is equal to R divided by sine gamma. This will be the case. P, Q, R are the magnitudes of the vectors P, Q and R. And alpha is an angle opposite to P, and beta, gamma are the angles opposite to Q and R respectively. And this will be the case only if the sum of those three vectors are 0. But we know that when it comes to mechanics, the equilibrium states that net force on any object or a particle should be 0. So if net force is 0, force are vectors. If the number of forces on any particle is 3, the law of sines will be very useful for us to solve problems. So this is something you need to remember. So when I asked the equation, you did not tell me, but you know this, right? You've learned about this, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this can also be written using a triangle. If there is a triangle with side ABC and this angle A, B and C, so this is small c, okay. If you have a triangle with sides side length A, B and C, and the angles opposite to it capital A, B and C, this equation will be applicable. A by sine A will be equal to B by sine B is equal to C by sine C. So this is basically geometry. I did not mention any vectors here, but from the triangular law of vector addition, you know that if there are three vectors with magnitude A, B and C, it can be if it can be drawn like a triangle, it means that net force is 0, right? So this is again an idea that you will need frequently and will be very useful. Now let's come back to equilibrium. Let's say there is a surface, inclined surface, which makes an angle 30 degree with the horizontal, and there is a disc on the surface which is tied to a string which is being pulled upwards. Let's say this disc is not moving. If the disc is not moving, what can you say about its equilibrium? Is it in equilibrium or not? Is it in equilibrium or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Why?
The force balance out each other.
Yes. How do we know net force is zero?
In the downward direction, we got the gravitational force.
Yeah, that's all true. But if it's not moving, you immediately know that net force is zero because of Newton's first law, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if something is not moving or in uniform motion, you definitely know that net force on the object is zero. So there is no question about it. If there is an object, a random object P that has a uniform velocity, is it in equilibrium or not? There are different.
No, because it's moving.
There are different forces on it: F1, F2, F3. Okay, so is it in equilibrium or not? Is it in equilibrium? Yes or no? What did you say? There is a random particle or an object or a body P which has so many forces on it, F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, and it's moving at a velocity V. Is it in equilibrium or not?
Sir, if the velocity is constant, then it will be in equilibrium.
Excellent. If the velocity is constant, it will be in equilibrium. So when you so I told you that there are different forces on it, F2, F3, F4. It does not really matter if it is according to simply think about the first law. If it is if it has a constant velocity, it must be in equilibrium. All these forces must cancel out. If these forces are not being cancelled out, there should be a acceleration. So I've given you that it has constant velocity, so it must be in equilibrium. This may not sound very intuitive. You'll feel like, oh, something is moving. It is not in equilibrium. I'll give you another case. Another interesting case is that there is an object Q on a rough surface, and you are pulling it towards right direction with force P, and surface being rough, there will be naturally a frictional force F, and it has a constant velocity. So is it in equilibrium or not? Of course, it has a weight also. It has weight acting downwards, and there is a normal force upwards. Is it in equilibrium or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's in equilibrium. Even if it's moving, if the velocity is constant, it is in equilibrium. If it is not in equilibrium, it would be either decelerating or accelerating. That's something you need to look to. So net velocity zero. Velocity is zero or constant means equilibrium. That also means net force is zero. Normal force should be equal to weight. Friction should be equal to P. Those are the cases. Now back here, I think Okay. I think my voice is okay, right? You can all hear me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, someone was complaining, maybe because of his net connection. Anyway, the good news is that I am recording the entire lecture and I will upload it in YouTube or and I'll give the link in the website, so so that you can access it later. For those who have a poor connection, they can get these lectures later and listen. Now back to this object. This object is lying on an inclined surface, and we are pulling it up with a string T. String is aligned in such a way that it makes 20 degree with vertical, and the surface, inclined surface, makes 30 degree with horizontal. Now let's use the idea of equilibrium here. So to use the idea of equilibrium, what we first do is that we will draw the free body diagram of the object. So the word is that free body diagram. What is free body diagram? We will take the body out of the context, out of the picture, out of the whatever case is there. We will take the body under analysis and we will remove all supports, we will remove everything else, and we will draw all external forces acting on the body, and we will draw it separately. For example, in this case, what will be the free body diagram? So there is a object Q moving towards right with a velocity v. So this is our object. What are the external forces on the object? Object has a weight. There is a normal force acting upward. There is an external force P, and there is friction F. Since this is in equilibrium, we know that net force in every direction should be 0. That means P must be equal to F, W must be equal to N. So if P is given, you know what is F. If weight is given, you know what is normal force. Again, I've used this term normal force here. Well, I thought you should, I'm sure you'd be comfortable with the term, but again, what is normal force? Can you tell me? What is normal force?
So the force that acts
reaction.
normal to the surface.
Normal to the surface, that's it. That's the normal force. Just like the term suggests, the normal force, it will be normal to the surface. And usually when the surface is smooth, if the surface is not rough, usually there will be only normal component. So what I mean is that if there is a smooth surface and if there is a, I don't know, rod or something you keep on the surface, the normal force, the force from the surface on the rod will be perpendicular to the surface if the surface is smooth. If the surface is not smooth, you may have other components, but still this can be called normal force. Normal force is always, the word normal itself means perpendicular to the perpendicular, right? So the normal force is always normal to the surfaces involved, and usually we will be dealing with smooth surfaces. So hence that idea is quite clear, I think. Let's get back to this picture. Let's say this has a mass m. Now how do we draw the free body diagram of this object? First rule is that we take out the body under analysis. That's the right. That's our object M, the disk which we are trying to understand. Now what are the different external forces on the disk? What are the different external forces on the disk? Can you tell me one by one? What can you see here? I've told you what is happening here. There is a disk with mass m and a string is tied to it. We are trying to pull it up, but the disk is not moving, and there is a smooth surface. There is no friction here. Okay, smooth surface. Smooth surface on which it is lying, which makes 30 degree with the horizontal. What are the different external forces you can find out here? Someone please.
So first the normal force, then its weight mg, and the tension and its opposite.
That's it. He has actually mentioned all external forces. There will be tension T, and the weight will be mg, mass into gravity, and normal force from the surface onto the disk. I'm sorry, this is not 30, this is 20. Okay. Now what will be this angle here? Normal force N, that is perpendicular to the surface, perpendicular to the smooth surface, which makes 30 degree with horizontal. So what will be this angle here? Will it be 30 or 90 minus 30? Will it be 30 or 90 minus 30? This is the normal direction. So if there is a horizontal line here, if this is 30, this will also be 30, and this angle will be 90 minus 30. Should be 60. Now what do we do with this? We know that this is in equilibrium. That means net force on the disk is 0. If net force on the disk is 0, what can we can say that net force in x direction should be 0, net force in y direction should be 0. If net force in x direction is 0, with the given angles, I can write t sine 20 minus n cos 60 is equal to 0. How did I write this? T has a net force in x direction should be 0. So T has a component in x direction. Right, this is x direction. How much is that? That is T cos 70. If this is 20, this will be 70, right? Total angle being 90. So this should be T cos 70 or T sine 20. Both are same. And the term has no negative. There is a positive term because component of T in x direction is towards right. So if direction is towards right, let's assume it's positive. If direction is towards left, let's assume it is negative. So T, the component of T in x direction is positive, and N, normal force N also has a component in x direction, and that is N cos 60 or N sin 30, but that is negative. I have written minus N cos 60 here because the component of N in x direction is towards left. So the direction towards left will be taken as negative. Will there be a component of mg in x direction? There won't be, because mg is perpendicular to, mg is fully in y direction. You can write mg cos 90, but that will automatically become 0. Same thing. Now you can write the equilibrium equation in y direction also. Net force in y direction should be 0. That means T cos 20 is the component of T in y direction, and that is upwards. Let's take all upward direction will be considered positive and downward direction will be considered negative. So T cos 20 is positive, and normal force N has a component in vertical direction, and that is also upward and hence positive. Now what is that component? That is N cos 30 or N sin 60. See, if I'm making an error somewhere, you need to let me know. Okay, so this is N sin 60. And what about mg? Mg is fully acting in y direction. That is a downward force. Hence, it will be considered negative. Minus mg is equal to 0. So these are the equilibrium equations. So if there is a problem in which you are given m, if value of m is given, you can calculate t and n, because you have two equations with two unknowns n and t. You can easily calculate t and n. If there are three vectors, if one of them is given, you can calculate two others. To calculate, what can you do? There are many things. In this case, you have three vectors. When you have three vectors, it's actually quite useful for us. The general procedure will be for us to solve problems. turning them into components and equating the net force in each direction equal to 0 will be a general procedure you can do anywhere, but in this case, since you have 3 vectors, you can also use law of sines, which I have given you here. 3 vectors, right? Since there are 3 vectors, I can write t divided by sine of this whole angle will be equal to n divided by sine of this whole angle. That will be equal to mg divided by sine of this whole angle. And we know all these angles. So that's another way to deal with the problem if there are 3 vectors. That works only if you have 3 vectors. If there are 2 or 4, 5, 6, 7 vectors, that will not work. But rectangular components, it works everywhere. So this is very, very important. And you are going to get confused with cos and sine. Most of you will get confused with cos and sine. Which component comes where? That's something people usually make these mistakes in the exams, and you need to practice such problems. So there are so many examples in the textbook for particles in equilibrium, which you can solve. I'll give you another example. Use the straight line. Let's say there is a there are 2 walls on either side, and this is basically a string. On a string you are keeping, I don't know, let's this is a cylinder with a mass let's say 10 kg. And this has a tension T1, this has a tension T2. Let's say this angle is 45 and this angle let's say 55. In this case, let's say you are asked to calculate T1 T1 and T2. How will you do that? So this is obviously not moving. So you can consider the equilibrium of the joint point or the junction. Let's say, I don't know, let's call the junction J. So from the junction there is T2, T1 and mg. This angle is 45. Obviously this is 90. This is 55. This is 90. And this is how much? This will be 80, I think, right? 180 minus 55 minus 45. So that will be 80. So you can either write T1 divided by sine 135 is equal to T2 divided by sine 145 equal to mg. M is given, okay. G you already know, 9.81. mg divided by sine 80. So you can easily calculate T1 and T2, or you can write down T1 cos 55, it is negative. Okay, these are the equilibrium equations. Okay, sigma fx equal to 0 means T1 the horizontal component of T1 will be T1 cos 55, and that will be negative, and in the right, and you also have a component of T2 which will be T2 cos 45, and that is positive because that is acting towards right. Some of those will be 0, and sigma fy will be 0, which means T1 sine 55 plus T2 sine 45 minus mg will be 0. So you can either calculate T1 and T2 using this method here, law of sines, or you can split it into rectangular components and say that net force in every direction is 0. You will get two equations. Two equations has two unknowns, T1 and T2. Two unknowns, two equations. You can very easily solve the system. You can simply put the values in a calculator and get the answer directly, or you can find out T1 here, substitute T1 equal to something you will get, substitute back here, and T2 will be the only unknown in the equation, and calculate T2 and back substitute in the first or second equation and get the value of T1. That's how you do that. So there are so many types of problems you can look for, which are available in the textbook. I've given you a PDF of the textbook, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So many problems are available there. So you can practice some. It's 110. Okay, you have a
Sir, can you please again explain how to take the sign, means the plus or negative or positive sign of the components?
yes, that's a very important question. That's something something you need to be very careful with. Let me start here. Net force is 0. Net force is 0 means net force in x direction is 0, net force in y direction is 0. So x is horizontal direction, y is vertical direction. So the sign convention we follow is this one. All forces towards right is positive, all forces towards left is negative. All upward forces is positive, all downward forces are negative. Get it? Towards right, positive.
Yes, sir.
Towards left, negative. Upward, positive. Downward, negative. Now let's come to the problem. There are three forces. All three forces will have component in all direction. T1, component of T1. Okay, if it's confusing, I'll write here T1. What are the rectangular components of T1? I can draw a rectangle here and write this. T1 sine 55 will be the horizontal component, and T1 cos 55 will be the T1 sine 55 will be the vertical component, and T1 cos 55 will be the horizontal component. That's how you make the rectangular components, right? So now you tell me T1 sine 55 is it upward or downward? It's upward.
Sir, upward.
So it's positive, right? Obviously that's positive in second equation. T1 cos 55, that is towards left. That is the reason why you have negative here. T1 sine 55, you have positive here. Similarly, T2 cos 45, if I draw the rectangle here and split into rectangular components, T2 cos 45 is towards right, hence positive, and T2 sine 45, that is upward, hence that is also positive. MG's horizontal component is 0, because if you draw a rectangle it will become a line. So I'm not writing it here. You can write cos 90, but it doesn't make sense, right? MG is fully in y direction. That's fully downwards, hence negative. Similarly, in the previous case also, you split each of these component into two components, rectangular components, x and y direction. See if it is upward, downward, or right or left. Right means positive, left means negative. Up means positive, down means negative. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Your next class is at 2 o'clock, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay, any other questions? Any other questions? Anyone? Any other questions? No questions.